Hello, how are you? This is Resilient Lives, checking in with you to see how you're doing during these crazy times. Certainly hope you're doing well. It's a lot going on these days, and it is important that we check in to make sure that we're still thriving. That's the goal, right? And so all is well here. We're having a good day in spite of looking at all that we are dealing with. Of course, the challenge is always to be resilient and to rebound in all situations. But we must remember it is a process. So we're just banding together and sending out a little love to let you know we're here. And it's Thursday, which means it's probably the beginning of the celebration of the weekend for some of us. And so I just wanted to have a short time to have a little conversation with you. So hopefully you'll pause and reflect on those things that keep you calm. Reflect on those things that have got you to this point, because we need to hold on to them for a little while longer. We're still in the pandemic, and we're dealing with the racism and the hurt and painfulness of the ways lives are being devalued. And so I was just thinking, we have been going through this rebuilding process. We, unlike the Travis Mills quadriplegic, we talked about him a little while ago. He's a quadriplegic that had both his legs and his arms blown off. And he then had to go through a rebuilding process. He has the prosthetic legs and has to learn how to eat, and now he can care for his children and drive and do those things that it took a long time, a long period of rebuilding and rehabilitation. And as I see these processes, these viruses that are going on, the COVID-19 virus, which forced us to shelter in and give up our normal ways of being in the world. And we had to learn how to simplify and basically become original. We talked about that. We had to learn how to do things differently. And so we started this virtual living, virtually coming to you and giving you a hug and checking in on you. But we had to learn how to rebuild because we knew that in order to thrive, we needed to be in touch with each other. So we had to drop the old ways. The old ways weren't working so that we could thrive. And then, wham, this devaluing of life, this killing of this Floyd, really threw not only us here in the United States, but all over the world. So it's interesting how you have two global crises going and doing the same thing. The racism crisis has triggered protest, and people are tired of having their lives devalued. So what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about another rebuilding process, and it is going to be a process. It made me think about and reflect on the potter, the potter and the clay. If you have seen the potter and the potter's wheel and how he's shaping the clay and making it into whatever, a pot or whatever. He's making it into the pottery that he wants it to be. And oftentimes, if the potter is not happy with the way that it turns out, then the potter reshapes it. And so today, I'm looking at that theme or that focus on broken in order to be remade. We are broken in order to be remade. And that seems to be what's happening now. The COVID virus has broken us, and we have become remade, developed a new norm. We're stepping out into the world a little different. We're leaving the things that we didn't like, the crazy pace of life, but we're stepping out in this new norm with a new identity, with a new way of looking at obstacles. And now we are dealing with racism. And that is the general focus all over the globe. I'm surprised, very much surprised. But it's not just it's just not African American. Even in Australia, they're looking at the way that they handle the indigenous people there. So it is a common theme, but it is a process. And it is the breaking down of the old ways in order to make new ways that are going to trigger growth. So I would hope that you are taking care of yourself, because these processes take energy. They wear you out. They're draining. The emotions that we go through, the sadness, and all those things, the tears and life lost, and all of these things wear you down. But we must band together and keep on cheering each other up and supporting each other, because certainly we can do this, but we're going to do it in the ways that we've learned how to. We've learned how to thrive, to check on each other, to call, to Zoom, to say, how are you doing? I mean, it's such a common phrase, how are you doing? But we are not always sure how we're doing, because every day there seems to be somebody that did something, said something that showed their colors, or showed that they were devaluing life. Well, we're not accepting that. We're only accepting things that are life promoting, growth promoting, and we're realizing that life is all about dealing with change constantly. And who knows what the next crises will be, but right now we got our hands full with the crises that we have. But just want you to focus on what happens in our lives. So often, an emotion or a relationship or a job or something will happen in our lives that break us, that hurt us to the core. It's so important to realize that this isn't the end. This is the beginning. From all endings come new beginnings. And so this broken in order to be remade is something that will be with us always. So I trust that you will stay calm. We'll help each other to stay calm. We'll stay encouraged. We'll stay hopeful, because we have come this far and we're not turning around. And I just want to send you a little love, let you know that you're loved. And I trust that you'll have a nice weekend, and we'll talk to you another time. Bye now.